Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to Big Eric Time. For today's video, I'll be doing a transmission flush on a 2008 Corolla. Alright, and on this 2008 Corolla, I do want to point out some of the things that I'll be using. I am going to be using the Valvoline Max Life. It's a full synthetic automatic transmission fluid. This Toyota takes Toyota Type 4, which you don't see it until you flip it over, but this is one of the only ones that I could find on the shelf that would show Type 4. Now the way that you check your transmission fluid, and this is on this Corolla, I'll pull out the dipstick. And you can see it right there, Type 4. Now, definitely double check your dipstick. A couple years after this Corolla, they did switch to world standard fluid, which the expansion rate's a little bit higher. That's why I would definitely recommend pulling out your dipstick and double checking. Couple things to point out. Right here is where we will be filling the transmission fluid, right where the dipstick's at. We'll be doing the flush today, so right here, this is the line coming from the transmission pushing into the cooler, which is a part of the radiator. Couple other tools that you'll need. You'll need definitely a 10mm socket, just because, I mean, every Japanese car uses a 10mm socket. This right here, 14mm. This is to pull out the drain plug for the transmission pan. If you don't have a 14, you can also use a 9/16. It's just a little bit too big. This right here is actually the drain plug for the transmission pan. Alright, and for this 2008 Corolla, this is the transmission filter that I'll be using. The code for the 2008 Corolla is the TF17 from Duralast. I got this at AutoZone. I believe it was only $14.99. This is what the filter looks like. This will butt up to the bottom of the where the transmission is, and it looks like there's going to be three bolts right there that hold it in. This does come with the gasket for the transmission pan. Now what I did is I pulled the gasket out, and it's been sitting in the sun for probably about 15 minutes. It was all folded up, so letting it sit out in the sun, it actually flattened out quite a bit. That's just going to make installation a little bit easier. Alright, and down underneath the vehicle, I just want to point out the transmission fluid pan is on the driver's side. The oil pan is on the passenger side. I do not recommend a flush. On the Toyotas, I only recommend a drain and fill. The reason I'm doing a flush is I believe the wrong fluid was put into the transmission, causing it to slip. So that's the only reason why I'm doing a flush. And while I'm in here, I'm also going to change out that filter. But that is the only reason why I'm doing a flush. I do not recommend doing a flush. I recommend doing drain and fills on your 2008 Corollas. Alright, and right here, I just have my oil drain pan. We've caught some of the fluid that's come out of here. Luckily, no drips, no spills. Down here, this is the transmission pan. Just want to point out there are 18 bolts, so don't lose any. And keep them separate from the 3 10mm bolts that hold on the filter right there. Now, in here, you will actually see there's two magnets. These magnets have quite a bit of debris on there. Lots of debris, actually. And you can't really see it, but there's actually quite a bit of metallic flake in there. So I'm going to clean this out, take this gasket off and scrape it, and then get ready to put it back in. Okay, so right here, just want to show I actually wiped out the pan. That's actually still quite a bit of debris down there. The fluid had a little bit of a reddish tint, but after wiping it out, I believe that's all clutch material there. So it is black after wiping it out. Just want to show you On the left is a clean magnet, and on the right it actually soaks up quite a bit of debris. So on this one, I have some brake parts cleaner. I'll be spraying this down and then wiping it off and cleaning it up. The gasket right here looks like it comes off pretty easy. I'll just be going around the edge real quick and cleaning that off, and then we'll start reassembling soon. Got these magnets all nice and clean. Show you the pan. Cleans up real nice. I wouldn't eat off of it, but looks pretty good. Now to start reassembly. First things first, I'm gonna put the magnets in place. You can tell where they go by the little lines. Also, the gasket. You do not put anything on the gasket. I believe you just lay it on there and put the screws in. But underneath it, I will be going through with the razor blade and cleaning the bottom side of where this and the gasket touch the bottom of the transmission. Alright, so underneath here, I have scraped the outer edge of where the gasket will be butting up to it. There's my little razor blade. Now, first, before I do that, a little bit did come off right here and around the edges. Just make sure you use a high quality paper towel, something that doesn't leave lint everywhere. Kind of like that. 1, 2, 3. So, between these 3 bolts, that will drop the filter out. Just want to show the bottom of this thing, just because I always find it kind of cool. Looks like we got some wires up here, electrical wires. A little bit of protective stuff right there. The wires, looks like they go right here. I don't know what this is. I just thought it was cool. And then right here, this little guy, that is the dipstick. Alright, so I'm going to take that out and then we'll start reassembling. Oh, just forgot one thing to remind you. When you do take out those 3 bolts, it does spill a little bit. I forgot to have the catcher in there, but just want to show you how much spilled, and it kind of gives you an idea of the color of the fluid that was in there. So that's the reason why I'm doing this flush. So I just swapped out my little workstation, so I'm going to go under there and get back at it. Okay, just want to show you what it looks like underneath after you take off the transmission filter. That hole right there, that's where the little gasket kind of butts up from where the filter is at. And then you do have that hole, and those 2 right there, that's where the screws will go in. Just kind of wiped it off with a little paper towel. I didn't use any chemicals on this just because I don't want to contaminate it. That's the old one there. There's the new one. Looks pretty similar. Holes should line up. This is what will go against the bottom of the transmission there. Just wanted to show that. Okay, right here, just want to show you, this is the way that the filter is going to go in. The 2 are going to go towards the passenger side of the vehicle, and the 1 is going to go to the driver's side of the vehicle. Now, about those screws, while you keep them separate from the 18, they're a little bit different. The 1 right here, that's going to be the one that goes into this hole right here, and again, that goes towards the driver's side. Then these 2 are actually a little bit longer than the bolts that go around the edge of the transmission. Alright, the filter is in. Just want to show you. Now, those 3 went in pretty good. I do not know the torque specs on them. But basically, when these went in, when they came out, there wasn't much to it. So what I did is I tightened them down to the point they wouldn't go, and I just maybe went that much. So it is in there. It's snug. Out here, I did read somewhere that is 120 inch-pounds, so 10 foot-pounds of torque. These came off very easily, maybe just a flick of the wrist and they came off, so I'll be putting them on in a similar fashion. All right, got the gasket out of the sun. Gasket's nice and flat. Uh, Something that you do when you do put this back up there, you're supposed to start from the inside out. So inside meaning here, you get a bolt, you get a bolt, you get a bolt, you get a bolt. And after that, I'm going to go from the inside out. So that's going to be next, that's going to be next, that's going to be next, that's going to be next. And then the last ones that get them are going to be the corners around the edge. All right, underneath the pan is on. Did it in the star pattern, so that way the pressure was evenly distributed as it was tightened down. Right here, this is my makeshift funnel. I can't pour too fast. Get yourselves a real funnel. I forgot to buy one. Something that I did want to do is test it to see if it is leaking. So right here, I've put in 2 quarts. So getting underneath here, just feel around the edge and see if there's any fluid coming out. Visually inspect around each of the bolts. So far, I don't see any fluid, so we're doing good. All right, so there are 3.2. Whenever you 3.2 quarts to refill it after you've do a drain and fill. So right now I've added 3.2 in there. What I'm going to do next, this right here, that is the line coming from the transmission. So this, I believe the transmission will pump the fluid into this, which is the side of the radiator, and it actually cools it down that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo it right there. This is some 5/16 steel brake line. Got this at AutoZone. This was only, I believe it was like $4. I'm going to probably have to cut off this flare, but I'm going to shove it into the side of that, or inside that hose. And then I bought this hose to extend it, basically so that way I can fill it into a tube, or into the bottle, so that way I can see how it looks coming out. I'll probably be doing this 2 times, where I stick this in there, turn on the car, and let it push out, and then probably do that twice, and then see how it looks after that. Alright, so quick update what I did with this 5/16 steel tubing. This is a brake line. It was flared out at one end, so what I did is I had to chop off the flare. So now that it's chopped off, this will fit into it. Pulled it off right there. Right there's where it came out of. And that's on the side of the radiator. So the clean end is going to go in there. And then the end with the flare, I actually have this hose right here. It's a 3/8 hose. And the flared end will actually fit in here and not come out, so, or it'll have a lot of resistance coming out. So let me put that on there. I'll put it together, and then we'll start extracting some fluid. So right here with these needle nose pliers, to get that hose off, I actually had to go underneath here like this. If you had a angled needle nose, that would work better. Right here, just want to show the hose is connected. I put the hose clamp on. This steel tubing goes down probably, I would say maybe an inch, and then I clamped it onto there, shoved the other end into the 3/8 hose, and there we go. This is about 3 feet of hose, by the way. So next I'm just gonna get an empty container and we'll start getting some fluid out. So before I started the car, I told you I put 3.2. As you can tell, it's actually right there, right in the halfway mark between the hot and cold. So 3.2 does get you right there. Once the car warms up, it should run over to that hotter side. Since it's just me by myself, I want to show the setup I'm using. I have my empty container there, some tape on the hose, and hopefully that'll get me started. First things first, so that way I don't starve the transmission, I'm actually going to put an extra one extra quart in there, start it up. I'm going to put it in 1, 2 drive and then back into park, and that's maybe going to be about 10 seconds at the most, and I'm going to come out and check how much fluid I have in there at that point. Alright, so some fluid should be coming out. I got 110,000 miles on there. We're going to go to low, holding the brake. 2, 3. And back up to park. Hey, what do you know? Tape holds up. Right there, I got a little bit over 1 quart out, so I'm gonna put some in there. That fluid, I rotated that. Because I'm using my funky funnels, the funky funnels actually I poured too quick, so I just rotated the cardboard. There's no new fluid underneath there to worry about, so I think we're good on the leaks. Now to put some more fluid in, and we'll do that again. Alright, so this is the second time I filled it up with another 3. So I just want to show you the car's in park. I ran through low, 2, drive, neutral, and reverse. I just want to show you while you have it in park, it is pumping out still. So right, a little bit more, and I got to turn the engine off. Alright, so just real quick, this is full 5 quarts right here. There are 4 quarts in a gallon, I believe. That's what Google said. So when I went in, I actually bought 2 gallons and 1 quart just because that's all that the store had left. So normally you're supposed to use 10 quarts to flush it. I got 9. That's all I have. So since this is full, this should be, I believe it's a little bit about half a quart low. Just want to show you inside of there. Now this actually doesn't look too bad now. Has a nice cherry color. I'm going to drip a little bit out just so that way you can see it. That doesn't look too bad. So I have a little bit more to run through it, and that should do it for this one. So just maybe 1 or 2 more times and we'll be good to go. Alright, that's it for this video. That is how you change the transmission filter on a 2008 Corolla and also perform a flush on the Corolla. I started it up, it's warm, check the fluid levels, they're good. About to go do some road testing. So that's it for this video. If you could, please like, share, subscribe, and look forward to posting up some more videos. Thank you for watching.